We hope that you think we are number one, because you sure are. We give recognition to everyone, and even the officials make the intro. So find a buddy, or in my case, a best buddy, and dance your way right into the show. You know all is right, because up next is Sportsnight.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. A lot in the shorter show to bring you today.
I don't know that we can follow the moves of that young man on the mezzanine there with the dance.
The reincarnation of Denny Terrio. Look it up, kids. Look it up.
Look it up. Yeah, he's a tough act to follow, but we'll do our best. We do have a lot to talk about as teams near the holiday break.
Yep.
We are gonna get some good action in this week. We're gonna try and figure out when we can have a show next week, and then we'll probably take a little bit of a break for the New Year week. I don't know. We haven't really figured things out. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants if you haven't figured that out quite yet here at CTN. But we do have quite a bit to talk about this week. We're going to start, as we always do, with the boys hockey team. Cardinals have just one game this week, and they need to get something positive to take after losing a pair of winnable games last week against division opponents. On Thursday, they were at the Ice House at Fogarty facing a Spring Lake Park team dealing with similar struggles. Panthers had lost 4 in a row and had managed just 4 goals in those games. Both teams would be looking for a way to get things turned around and back in their favor. It's a pretty even game in the first, but the Panthers start the scoring with just under 6 minutes left. Cardinals can't clear the puck. Jack McCusick able to control it, snap it over the blocker of Argyros, puts Spring Lake Park up 1-0. Coon Rapids power play, but they get a shorthanded 2-on-1, and Zach Zemlicka able to dance through Crosby, beat Argyros to the glove side, and it's 2-0 after 1. Panther power play early in the second. Nico Ryman speed into the zone, finds Eric Schwartz all alone in the slot. He redirects it home. 3-0. Cardinals on the power play again. Puck played to the point. Ammons shot and stop, but Tommy Carl's there. Put the rebound home, and Coon Rapids on the board. Back within 2. But the Panthers just keep coming. 3-on-1 late in the period. Jack Armstrong feeds it backdoor to Zemlicka. Tips it home. His second of the game made it 4-1 after 2. They run away with it as they score 4 in the third period and win 8-1.
Always tough giving up 8 goals, to a team that, as you talked about when we started this, winnable opponent, a team that you should compete with and you shouldn't lose 8-1.
Well, and that's the hard thing is, coming in to this week, you looked at Spring Lake Park, you looked at Irondale, you went, hey, these are divisional opponents in the same or similar situation as the Cardinals. These are games they have to go out and be able to compete and hopefully come away with a victory, at least come away with something positive. And not a lot of positive to take out of the Panther loss.
Unfortunately, no. Well, the Cardinals were back home on Saturday for a matinee game against another beatable division opponent. The Irondale Knights were 2-2-2 through their first 6 games. They hadn't scored more than 2 goals in a game. They're strong defensively, but their offensive struggles meant they could be vulnerable if the Cardinals could generate some offense of their own. Irondale wastes no time getting their offense going. Less than 90 seconds in, Ryan Souls weaves his way past the Cardinals, beats Argyros high on the short side to get the Knights on the board early. We're still in the first. Cardinals get caught on a line change. Nate Foley gets to the puck, shoots quickly, putting it just inside the far post, giving Irondale a 2-goal lead. Cardinals are trying to kill off a major penalty late in the first. Good movement from the Knights power play. Griffin Barossa finishes at the back door with just 2 seconds left. It's 3-0 after 1. Irondale able to strike again coming up here. It's a major power play in the second. This time it's Gunnar Barossa scoring from the point. Knights on top by 4. They had another just 3 minutes later. Puck play down low. Nobody picks up the trailer. Solt shells it to the far side. Irondale on top 5-0 at that point, on their way to a 7-0 win. Another tough one. You give up 7 goals, 8 the game before, 7 this game.
This is 2 teams. You're talking about a Spring Lake Park team that had scored just 4 goals in their previous 4 games. You let them score 8. An Irondale team that had not scored more than 2 goals in a game all season, and you give up 7. 15-1, you're outscored in those 2 games in the division against teams that you should be competitive with. These are the kinds of struggles and the kind of moments in a season where the Cardinals have to do some introspective looking and just come out on Tuesday when they host Simley and get some things corrected. They have to be motivated to come out and play better than they have the last few weeks.
You look earlier in the season, giving up a number of goals to Centennial, giving up a number of goals to Elk River. Understandable.
Those are top 10 teams.
Understandable in that situation, but those two teams, they should not be getting those kind of 15 goals in 2 games. Not good.
Irondale and Spring Lake Park are not Centennial and Elk River. They are not top 10 teams. But they do have a little bit of a break coming up. They've got Simley coming in on Tuesday. It's a team, a non-conference game, a little less on the line. Hopefully that, maybe that's what they need to get a little bit of the pressure off. And maybe that's it. Maybe they're too amped up. Who knows? I don't know what's going on in the locker room, but I do know they need to get some positives. Even if it's not a victory, they need to have something positive happen in that Simley game so that they can take that into the long break. They're in Somerset, Wisconsin, the 29th and 30th to play a couple of Wisconsin teams, but they've got that 10 days off between. They need to have something positive happen against Simley.
Well, of course,
we'll be there.
And we will be there. And we looked at Simley's games. I believe they're 4-2. This is an opportunity. We look at their level of competition. Not as good as Coon Rapids.
No.
So this is an opportunity for them to kind of right the ship, get back in the right direction, and hopefully pull off a win.
And as much as you want to take those 2 losses as learning moments, at the same time, you kind of want to just forget them. They're done. They're over. You can't do anything about them. You got to move on, and you have to play better from here on out. Well, the girls team is good news. They are rolling right now, taking care of a part of their schedule that they needed to be able to take care of. After a little bit of a slow start, the Bluebirds have really taken off. They are dominating those teams beneath them in the standings, which will help build momentum and confidence before facing some of the elite teams that still lie ahead. Tuesday's game against the 1-8 Irondale Knights was a perfect example. Bluebirds start the scoring on the power play late in the first. Alyssa Sweet walks in, snaps it high over the glove side, 1-0 after 1. Early in the second, shot for the point is tipped up and over the keeper. Jordan Keller recovers. She's able to wrap around, beat the keeper to the post, making a 2-goal lead. Irondale didn't get a lot of looks at the net, but sophomore keeper Elia Johnson was ready when they did. She stopped all 10 Knights shots to record a shutout in her varsity debut. The Bluebirds' defense has been the big key, and defense turns to offense right here. Micah Sutherland blocks a shot, skates to the other end, then gets it to Sophie Sinjum right there, and Sinjum comes back across, slides the backhand home. Her second of the year makes it 3-0 after 2. They add one more in the third. It's Sutherland again, this time weaving her way in deep, putting the wrister over the keeper's glove. Celebration needs, well, just a little bit of work, but at least the goal was pretty. Not really a challenging shutout for E, but still a great way to start her varsity career. 3rd straight game for the Bluebirds without giving up a goal.
And that's impressive, no doubt, but the biggest thing I think is that this is a game that could have been more than the score indicated.
It could have.
And they totally outplayed Irondale, and this is an opportunity. That was an opportunity for them to continue that streak against that soft schedule.
Well, and goalies always get the credit for the shutout, but goals against is a team stat. Every level of hockey, goals for and goals against are team stats. So goals against average, while that's attributed to the goalie, that's really a team stat. The team playing really well in front of their goaltenders have really been a big reason why they went 3 straight games without giving up a goal.
Yeah, their defense has been very good. Well, on Saturday, the Bluebirds were back home hosting the winless team from Armstrong Cooper. The win over Irondale was the 3rd in a row for CPCR, and they only have given up 3 goals and winning 5 of their previous 6. They were not about to let this team slow down that kind of momentum. Bluebirds flying early, just over 3 minutes into the game. Delaney Johnson's shot goes wide, but Mackenzie Baker is on the back post. She keeps banging away until it's in the back of the net, puts CPCR on the board. Just over 20 seconds later, Bluebirds win the faceoff. Emily Peterson shoots low to the far side, gets it just inside the post, makes it a 2-goal lead. Armstrong Cooper scored to make it 2-1, but CPCR answers. Anna Bezcalo digs it out of the corner, comes across the front, backhander off the post, off the keeper, off the far post. The Armstrong defense knocks it in, and it's 3-1 after 1. Second period, Baker on the move up the wing, great wrister to the far side. Her second of the game makes it 4-1 Champlain Park Coon Rapids. Move to the opening minute of the third now. Bluebirds get in deep. Alyssa Brazier centers to Erica Thiessen alone in the slot. She scores, it's 5-1. Nice goal there. They add one more midway through the period. Micah Sutherland carries it into the zone, centers, Leah Herwald's first shot is Herwald's stopped, but she gets the rebound home, and the Bluebirds skate to a 6-1 win. They've won now 4 in a row, 6 of their last 7. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and they've got some big games coming up. I mean, now Tuesday's game, they're at Spring Lake Park. It's not so much that the opponent is that good as it is that rivalry, because, of course, the Coon Rapids girls called the Spring Lake Park girls teammates last year. So they definitely want to get a win there. Spring Lake Park's playing pretty well, and they have a very good goaltender in Sammy Miller.
Excellent.
So they'll have to put some pucks on the net in order to get the win there. Then on Thursday, they travel to take on Wayzata. Former Coon Rapids coach Jess Christofferson has a pretty good team there for the Trojans, so that will be a huge test. And that's why it was so important for the Bluebirds to be dominant in these games against the Irondales and the Armstrongs and the other teams that they've played recently. Those are the teams that you look at on the schedule that you have to win, and they did it, and they did it impressively. Now that's going to hopefully build some confidence going into the game like Wayzata on Thursday. You've still got Blaine, Maple Grove. You got those teams on the schedule in front of you. You still got to play Anoka. A lot of good programs still lie ahead. So you can't get too full of yourselves with how well and what your record is right now, because what it's really going to matter is when we get to late January. And if they can keep playing the way they are, especially defensively, I think they may surprise some teams, even those top-level teams.
You know, I believe they lost a 2-1 to Spring Lake Park the first time they played them this year, and so this is an opportunity to get a little revenge.
That's the one loss in the last 6.
And then against Wayzata, it's going to be tough. They're coming off a tough loss to your least favorite team, Edina, number 1 team I believe they're number 1 team in the state right now, 5-3 loss. So, you know, they're looking to get back on the winning track as well.
Well, the wrestling team was out of town this past weekend. It went up to Cass Lake Bena for the Big Bear Invite. 40 teams involved in this one, and the Cardinals able to take home a 7th place finish. They had 5 guys able to place, including the 106-pounder Alex Kovalchuk taking first place. He was 5-0 with 2 pins and 2 major decisions. Gabe DeGris was 6th place, finishing 5-2, also had a couple of major decisions. Moise Madimba was in 8th place. He was 4-3 with a pin. Partlow also 8th place, 3-2, a couple of pins and a major decision. And Frendarius was 4-2 to finish in 8th place. He had 3 pins in that tournament. Not bad. This is a tournament the Cardinals had always historically gone down to Rochester for the Minnesota Christmas tournament. They decided to shake it up this year, and they went to the Big Bear tournament. They did pretty well, and now they've got a big match on their schedule this week. They're at section rival St. Francis on Friday. The Saints, ranked in that top 12, will be ready for them.
That should be a good match, no question. But an opportunity with the Rumble on the Red too. Great competition for this wrestling squad in the next couple of matches.
Yeah, the Rumble on the Red coming up the end of the month, final weekend of the month on the 28th and 29th. The gymnastics team was busy this past week. They actually got me the scores yesterday or last week before the show, but I was unable to retrieve them in time to get it on. But there is their opening. Season opener was back on the 30th of November. Coon Rapids put up a 121.725 in a loss to Maple Grove. And the great thing so far with these girls is there's different leaders in just about every event every night. Cassie Rushmeyer was their top vaulter, finishing 5th with an 8.7. Hannah Gross was the top Cardinal on the bars, finishing 6th with a 7.475. Rachel Dieters finished top on the beam in 5th place with an 8.3. Rushmeyer was also their top competitor on the floor with 6th place finish in 8.225. Rachel Dieters was their best all around, finishing in 3rd place. On Thursday this past week, they were in a tri-meet in Elk River. They put up a 125.875, so they're making progress towards that 130 goal. Not quite there yet, but they're making progress from a 121 in meet 1 to a 125 on Thursday. Elk River did put up a 132.875. These were your top finishers. Cassie Rushmeyer won the vault against Elk River, finishing 1st with an 8.7. Hannah Gross was 4th on the bars with a 7.925. Cassie Hurdle Kamika Hurdle rather, was second on the beam with an 8.125. Rachel Dieters was fourth on the floor with an 8.6. She was also their top all around with a second place finish in 31.15. Against Anoka, of course, that same score. And what I did, Anoka put up a huge number, 143.075. What I did, these are actually the Cardinals' second finishers on each of those events, since we saw their top finishers against in the graphic over Elk River. These are your second finishers. And of course, the place is a little bit different because Anoka took top 3 or 4 in almost every event. But Rachel Dieters, 8.475 on the vault, was still sixth place finish. Megan Hetwer was seventh with a 7.45 on bars. Cassie Rushmeyer, a sixth place finish on the beam with an 8.025. And Hannah Gross, eighth place on the floor with a 7.7. Kamika Hurdle finished fourth place all around with a 31.025. Girls were also in Champlin Park on Saturday for the Luau Invite. Unfortunately, the coaches didn't even have those results yet today, so we'll get through those for you next week on Sports Night. This is a week for the Cardinals that they look at and go, this is our opportunity. You know, there are a couple of teams that are going to have the similar kind of numbers as far as the athletes and the scores they're able to put up. They're at Park Center on Thursday, and then they have their holiday break, and then they're at Osseo on Thursday the 11th. These are a couple of meets where other teams that are probably going to be in that mid-120 range, so a chance for them to get a victory. But again, it's not so much about win or lose. It's about continuing to see that team score build up. Each girl continues to improve from one event to the next. Then things are going right for the team. Always improvement, looking to get that score right into the 130s, up in that mark there at 125 now. They're looking to build from there. Yeah, and they'd love to they definitely want a top 130, and if they can get to the mid 130s by the end of the year, I think everyone involved with the program will be more than happy with that. Let's hope that happens. Swimming and diving team was at home, but not the home team on Saturday. The Bengal Invite at Northdale Middle School pool. The Cardinals finished in 11th place. The email from Coach Donaldson said, we actually had a number of guys that placed better than they did and swam faster than they did last year. So he's pretty happy with it, even though it's an 11th place finish. He didn't feel the numbers really represented how well they did. Their top finisher was freshman Jack Simmer, getting 9th place in the diving competition, his first ever 11 dive competition, so congratulations to him. Tyler Schultz was 10th place in both the 100 free and the 100 breast. Matt Struess was 11th in the 100 back and 12th in the 100 free. The 200 medley relay team was 10th place, and the 200 free relay team was in 12th place. The Cardinals will host Osseo on Tuesday and St. Anthony Village on Thursday. And here's, again, another stretch for a Cardinal team that these are the teams that they looked at. They said, we're stronger than we have been. These are teams we want to win. The Centennials, some of the other teams that are out there, they know they just have a little bit more experience and still a little more depth. But this is a team that's building. They've gotten the numbers. They're getting more talented, and they're still really young. But if they can get a couple of wins, that would definitely make them feel a little bit better heading into the holiday season. Well, the key for me is just the fact that these younger athletes are really contributing. And we talk about it all the time. If you get that kind of results from freshmen and sophomores, it develops your program, and it continues for that program to grow. And we always talk about the more success they have, other kids will see, well, maybe I want to join the swim squad as well. Don't forget the 8th graders. And the 8th graders. I would never. I'd be remiss to forget the 8th graders. Schultz is still an 8th grader. He's still rewriting the middle school. That's just amazing. Record books. And when I was in 8th grade, I was still eating paint and glue. So they have those two beats this week, and then they have a holiday break. And Coach Donaldson's really excited about what they'll be able to achieve this week, and then what that will mean they're able to do in that time off. And he's really looking for them to come back really strong just after the new year. Nordic ski team, the snow has been falling. You're going to get some more this week. Yes, we will. And they're getting some results. They did get down. They were supposed to have an event, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, and they weren't able to get that done, obviously. But they did go to Winona on Saturday for a sprint relay. The team of Jared Haida and Ricky Petroff finished first. Zandarowski and Paul Breitbach finished in second place in 16 minutes, 35.1 seconds. The other relay teams finished 12th, 13th, and 14th. On the girls' side, Ellenbecker sisters pair up, and they get the win. First place in 20 minutes, 20.2 seconds. The other relay teams finished in 10th and 17th places. They will have their first Northwest Suburban Conference event this week at Elm Creek on Wednesday. They have a 5K skate, and then they go to Mora for a tournament on Thursday. So a couple of events coming up, and they may have some actual fresh, real Mother Nature-made snow to ski on by Wednesday morning.
Well, we're supposedly, really Thursday, I think we're going to get somewhere between 3 and 5 inches. So,
well, you're the meteorologist.
I am.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Yep.
Alpine ski team, I got an email from Coach Lauren Erie this week. She said they've got 18 kids on the team, 8 girls. That's the biggest the team has been in years. They've got 10 boys, 8 girls. So she's pretty excited about that. 13 of the 18 are returning skiers, so they have a little bit more experience than they've had in some of the previous seasons as well. They start their season at Trollhagen on Thursday, and then the second race of the year will be at Wild Mountain on Thursday, January 4th. Boys basketball team had just one game, and they hit the road for a long one. On Friday, they went to take on New Prague, and I don't think that's the result they were looking for. They lose 60-49. Marcel Winston, nice game, 16 points, 6 boards, 6 steals, and 5 assists. Sean Smith chipped in 12 points, had a couple of boards and 3 steals as well. Marshall Holland, 9 points, and got in on the rebound, steals, and assists as well. And Elijah McGrath had 6 points and 3 rebounds. But, after that great start against Forest Lake, they're sputtering a little bit. But, we're still pretty early in the season, and they've got some big games this week.
They really do. Coach O knew this was going to be a process, and he's, I think, finding that out.
Well, and this week, Champlin Park, pretty good basketball team on Tuesday, and then they're at Blaine on Thursday, and of course Blaine a big rival. It doesn't matter how good or bad their season's going. That's a big game just because of the rivalry.
They like to go into. I would like to get the 2 wins, but they'd like to at least come away with a split in their next 2 games.
If they could, that would be great. And the season, the schedule only gets stronger. Osseo and Park Center both ranked top 10 right now.
Yeah, they're very good. This is a great conference. We all know that, and
I think Maple Grove and Champlin Park are both on the cusp in what I read.
Like the lean and mean type.
Something
like that.
But they call it different.
They
call
do.
it the cusp.
The cusp. Okay,
but
that's interesting.
Osseo and Park Center both in that top 10. So things will get more difficult before they get easier. That is to be certain. But we've seen glimmers from this team, and they will be fun to watch as we get down the stretch. Girls basketball team, a very busy week. They had 3 games last week. On Tuesday, they hosted Armstrong, and they get a win in the crossover game against a team from the Northwest Suburban Conference West. They win 62-56. Ellie Carver leading the way with 19. Lainey Hanneman had 13. Kennedy Kerr had 12. Destiny Artis added 8, and Brooklyn Dixon had 4 points as the Cardinals get the win. And then it was running time. Running time at the field house on Thursday in a good way, as the Cardinals took care of the Duluth East Greyhounds, beating them 55-20. Ellie Carver had 18 points. Lainey Hanneman had 10. And then they spread the rest out. 7 points each for Kennedy Kerr, Destiny Artis, and Courtney Ackerman. Caitlin Ackerman had 6. Well, the Cardinals were looking to make it 3 in a row when they traveled to Irondale on Friday for another crossover game, this time with the Knights. Irondale off to a pretty good start, and they'd won 4 of their previous 5, including a dominating victory over North St. Paul the night before. Both teams were riding high off of big, dominant victories, hoping to knock the other down a notch, keep their own streak intact. Defensive battle in the first half. Points were hard to come by. Great little give and go with the Ackerman twins down low. Courtney will finish it off with the easy layup, and it's close early. Irondale being patient on offense, setting up in the half court. Sarah Locken faces up against Carver, finds Kaylin Jester cutting the lane. She scores with left hand, put the Knights up by 1. Jester coming across midcourt, runs into the trap, but able to pass it. They find Sophie Findle open on the wing. She hits the 3, and the Knights start to open up a lead. Late in the half, Cardinals get the perimeter game going. Quick shot off the inbound for Destiny Artis. Still, Coon Rapids trails 25-18 at the break. Cardinals come flying into the second, cut into the lead quickly. Caitlin Ackerman, great pass to Ellie Carver underneath. It's back to a 1-point game. Irondale able to answer, though. Loken runs into traffic, finds Findle alone at the top of the key, hits another 3. Knights charge back in front. Key to the Cardinals' success, their inside game. They feed on it. Carver scoring underneath, plus the foul. Still, they trail by 5. Tried to keep it interesting, but unfortunately, the Knights are the ones to finish strong. Drive by Findell up off the glass and home. They score 9 of the last 10 points in the game to get the 51-38 win.
Yeah, Cardinals would have liked to have scored more than 38 points. I actually watched a little bit of this game. It was on the World Wide Web. And the biggest key for me in that first half, Cardinals missed a lot of inside shots. They did a lot better in the second half, but in that first half, a lot of looks inside, didn't convert. Had second and third opportunities, they couldn't convert. They'll clean those up, but you have to like the way Ellie Carver's been playing to start the season. She's doing a nice job of leading the way, but again, more contributions from other players is certainly going to be needed.
Well, and that's something that we saw in that game against Forest Lake. They had a lot of looks inside of 5 feet that just didn't go down, and a lot of possessions where they had 2 and 3 opportunities in close and still came away empty. And that one, they were still close at halftime, but Forest Lake ran away with it in the second. But I mean, if they're able to convert more of those in close shots in the first half, it's a completely different ball game, and I think that would be the same story in that contest. As you make those shots early, you have a lead, and it changes the whole complexity of the game going into the second half. Well, the Cardinals are at Champlain Park on Tuesday, and they host Blaine on Thursday. And Howie,
we'll be there.
We will indeed, and we'll see if they can get a few more of those close-in shots to fall for them against the Bengals. But we've got a lot of good stuff coming up for you. We've got boys hockey on Tuesday. Live coverage starts at 7 o'clock. And then girls basketball on Thursday. Live coverage starts at 7 o'clock as well. And then from Wednesday the 27th through Saturday the 30th, we will have all kinds of coverage of the Cardinal Cup. Some of it will be exclusively on YouTube.
Correct.
Wednesday and Saturday games will be on YouTube. But we'll be there for the Bluebird games on Thursday and Friday.
Evenings, yes, and that should be a lot of fun. Love the outdoor hockey. I'm very excited for that.
Well, but that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Continue to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.